up. Classical music would have to have a long, hard look in the mirror and sharpen up its image.
I come from a very musical household. My mother was in soul to soul. She would listen to Motown, soul, R&B, pop, rock, and of course, classical music. One day she brought home this album, Vanessa-Mae. I never will forget the day that I heard this album. I was 8 years old and it completely blew my mind. When Vanessa-Mae burst onto the scene, she made me think you could love this type of music. You didn't have to get dressed up, sit awkwardly, clap every now and again. You could wear your ripped jeans, bob your head up and down, and do some air violin. So give me some insight then between your relationship between the classical and the pop world.
My relationship was, I think, organic. It was just natural that as a teenager, I loved both. We were experimenting. There were elements of improvisation as opposed to classical music, which I think if you just put in the hours, you will be able to perform something.
And Vanessa was certainly putting in the hours. Having made her debut with the London Philharmonia at the tender age of 10, just 3 years later, she set a world record as the youngest soloist to record both the Tchaikovsky and Beethoven violin concertos.
After 3 pure classical albums, around the age of 14, I got the chance to sort of experiment. And I was asked, what other kinds of music do you love? And, I was a child of the 80s, so before you were born, of course. So I loved, performers such as Prince, Michael Jackson. They were my pop idols. And I got a chance to start dabbling in, other styles, injecting some pop and dance and rock and jazz into my music. This is my very first pop video. I think probably like the first pop video ever on a violin. 15. I was 15 in that video. I think I look a lot older. I look pretty serious as well.
I think you're really young there.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I've got a...
You look like a baby.
Puppy fat face.
Oh.
But there's a funny bit. There's a switch when it gets to the fugue part, and I'm in hot pants.
Oh.
And I remember going with my mother shopping for hot pants. I mean, who does that with their mother?
Oh my goodness.
I remember though, this is so funny because coming from the world of classical to making a pop video, the biggest problem I had was learning how to mime. I didn't even know what miming was. We were in Ibiza, in the sea, running around, and when you're making videos, you have to do that. But of course, it doesn't really occur in classical. And then the impact of that video was crazy because suddenly people around the world were taking notice of the violin. I didn't realize that it would open the door to so many people to start listening to the violin who wouldn't normally dream of picking up a violin album. But I had no idea the impact of that. Sometimes I still get goosebumps, that somebody may have proposed to my music or done other things to my music. I don't know. But, just to be the soundscape to somebody's life growing up is just amazing.
So how do you feel that the classical world took to you?
Oh, they were in complete shock. I think there was a paralysis about what
I love that.
is going on here. It did irk many in the classical world. the more xenophobic, the more closed off, the more ignorant. And what we were doing was breaking new ground. I knew that even with the classical crossover music, there were moments of beauty and pointed moments of sadness and reflection that I felt confident enough to just discount the critics and say, but what I'm doing is still touching people.